pick. All set on YouTube, it looks like. Let's wait a couple minutes. Set up my space a little bit here. Yeah, I've been kind of doing a lot of studying on leak code to get myself familiar with the more common algorithms and completing them. I think I'm doing decent. My confidence in them have increased quite a lot, but yeah. Let me switch this to that. Anything else I need? I don't think so. I think we're just good to begin. Alright, it's been like 3 days? I can't remember. So I need to refresh myself on what we were doing. So actually, let's go back to the testing one and figure out where we left off at. So we got MH, got create. We did make speedrunner and hunter and a return menu. And these don't do anything quite yet. Okay. I see where we've left off. So let's jump into it. So click back so there's some nice little Minecraft music. But I want to make sure it's loud enough for you guys. I had to unpair and I had to repair my headset, and so all my settings are wacky, but it should be okay. Let's see, we got create manhunt, and we've got create hunter item. Okay. So trying to think how it would be best to kind of do things. So we've got the click permissions here all set up. Now underneath it, we're going to want to create. I'm going to need to see my actual files, please. Inventories. Okay, game. Right, we created our pre-game manhunt class. So let's go ahead and get started with that. It's equal to manhunt dot. Did we ever set something like that up? No, we didn't. We set up something else. We did our manhunt pre-game collection dot get instance. That's what we used instead, right? So dot get basically what we want to do is if the player, so the player can't really create a game without going through this GUI, so we don't need to check if the player has a GUI, or my words are failing me. We don't need to check if the player's in a pre-game already, but we do want to check if the player is invited. So does player have invite, and the player is player, right? Then we can say, so instead of this, all we need to do is say if player does have an invite, then we can send a notification saying messages dot unable to create manhunt. So inside of our messages here, we can say public static final string unable to create manhunt is equal to chat color dot red, and we can say something like you currently have an invitation to a different manhunt and cannot proceed until you accept or reject the invitation. Cool. So that's what it'll say. It'll close the player's inventory, and then we return. Otherwise, this means that it is fair game. So manhunt pre-game game is equal to manhunt pregame collection get instance dot start, and the leader is going to be the player. Then we can say game dot add hunter player because we're in the create hunter item, and then we can say send settings update, and it'll be, yeah, we'll do messages dot created manhunt as hunter. We'll do that. That's not what I wanted. We'll copy and paste this. Created manhunt as hunter. So, with this in mind, we can say, instead of red, what? Why does it do that? Stop. Chat color.gold drives me crazy. You created a new manhunt and are set as a, and we can say chat color dot red hunter chat color dot gold period. And then since we have one as a hunter, let's create one as a speedrunner. You create a new manhunt and are set as a, we'll do green, speedrunner. Perfect. Okay, so now we go back into here, and we're gonna want to open a new GUI, and we're gonna want to change the player's GUI depending on if the player depending on if the player's on a game or something along those lines. So first, let's begin with creating a new inventory. So manhunt main GUI, and we'll just call it that. This will extend a what do we call it? A GUI inventory, right? And then we implement our methods, rows, title, everything, the fun stuff, the bad stuff. Basically, manhunt pregame is what it'll be called. And we're just gonna have there be no items currently. We're gonna need to create matching super. Perfect. Pass in the owner. Awesome. All right, so that's our basic, not manhunt player type. Come on now. We need our GUI inventory type. So this is manhunt main inventory. And in our GUI factory, we will create this. So case manhunt main inventory, new manhunt main GUI owner. Perfect. Now we can go inside of our create hunter and we can simply say GUI inventory. GUI is equal to GUI collection dot get instance dot add, and then we pass in our GUI factory dot make GUI. GUI inventory type is going to be the main inventory, and the player is going to be, or the owner is going to be the player. And we just say player open inventory GUI dot get inventory. Perfect. Okay, so this should create what we're looking for, and yeah, I think this is good. So now I'm going to copy this, and we're going to bring this over to the speedrunner item. Instead of this, we're going to paste it right in here, and we're first going to check good, start, then we do add speedrunner instead, and then created as speedrunner. Boom, that's all we had to change. Awesome. This should create what we're looking for. Now, something else we're going to need to manage is when the command is called. So someone could be inside of the GUI and create a pregame and then exit the inventory. Well, what do we want to do when they exit the inventory? I don't want to need to have them create another new Manhunt game. So we're going to keep track of that game instead, and underneath our Manhunt command, what I'm going to have is basically, instead of just opening a GUI when we want to, we can instead sorry, I'm just kind of thinking to myself how I want to handle this. So we're gonna want, so we have our manhunt inventory. Let's go ahead and do if GUI collection dot get instance. No, wait, that's not what we want. We want instead if. Why am I blanking? Manhunt pregame collection. And then we're checking if the player's within a pregame, basically. So if the player's within a pregame, otherwise, and what we can have is down here, GUI inventory GUI. So now, all we need to do is say, if the player's within something, then the GUI is going to equal to, and we're going to add inventory type dot the main inventory, because we know that the player's already within a pregame. Otherwise, we're going to set the GUI equal to what we have been setting it to. Now there's a few more checks I'm going to want to do, but for now, this is good. Basically, we also want to check if the player is an invited player. And we're going to want to check if the player is not the leader and is registered, not just invited. So those are the two other things we're going to want to check for, basically. Man, I love kicking things, apparently. Good. yeah, that's good there. Now, we kind of have a basis of what we want, so I'm gonna go ahead and close these because it's just a bunch of stuff I don't need right now. Let's go ahead and upgrade this to 0.4. We love new versions after all. Go to our... Interesting, I had another window open there. But let's go to our server, upload that properly, delete the previous one. We're at 96 kilobytes so far. Restart. And now I'll switch to wait for the server to start up. Hello? Okay. Then we type /mh and we click create new manhunt. Let's do speedrunner. Okay, so now we're in the manhunt pregame and it says you created a new manhunt and are set as a speedrunner. Perfect. And if we try to reopen it, yes, we are in the pregame. Awesome. Now, I'm curious what happens when I leave and come back. Okay, that's interesting. So, when a player leaves the game in a pregame, something I want is for it to close out that game. So that's an actual time where I want the game to basically say, all right, we're not keeping track of you anymore. So let's go back to programming. All right, what am I looking for then? I'm going to look for our listener, the generic manhunt listener. Okay, so the big thing we're going to want to do basically is a unquit event. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll just leave those as is. I'm going to say event handler public void on quit. We'll have player quit event. Okay, so in here we're going to essentially be checking if the player's in a game or if the player's in a pregame. We only have the pregame so far, so we'll just check for the pregames basically. So player is equal to event.getPlayer. Then we're going to say manhunt pregame game is equal to, and then we're doing a manhunt pregame collection dot get I forgot which one it is. I mean, there's a few different ways to handle this. I think first, let's go into, yeah, because those are just suggestions. We're going to get the game that the player's invited to first. So if the player's invited to a game, so we're going to check that first. If game does not equal null, then we're going to say that we're going to deny the invite when we quit. Okay? Then we're going to get the leader, send message. This is going to be messages dot invite rejected, essentially. Let's import this. But you don't. There. So invite rejected. It's going to be chat. We'll do chat color.gold. We'll also just say has rejected your manhunt invitation. And then this is called invite rejected. Then we will... What in the world? How do I... Okay, whatever. I tell you, I'm so used to Visual Studio. Invite accepted. Has accepted your manhunt invitation. Good. And we'll have both of them in there. And we're going to say chat color.gold. Hello? Gold? Thank you. Honestly, we might want a different color. What would be a good color? Aqua? Sure, that'll work. Player.getName plus, and then the rejected message, essentially. Then we return, because we know we don't need to manage anything else. So now we're going to say game is equal to manhunt, game collection, get instance. I'm not sure what the difference is between get game from player. Okay, player game. Okay, and checks. Oh, I see. That does all of them to get the actual game. So get player game is what I want. Then we pass in player, and then we say if game equals null, then just return. And we're gonna say boolean is leader. It's equal to game.isPlayer leader. So there's two different ways to handle this. Well, there's three technically. First, you're checking if you're an invitee. If the person that's invited leaves the game, they auto-reject the invitation. If they're not an invitee, that means they are inside of the pregame already. And so first we need to check, are they the leader of this campaign? If they are the leader, we need to disband the campaign. If they're not the leader, then we need to just have them leave. Okay? So now we're going to say if is leader. In fact, we can simply say something like game.isPlayer leader player instead. Just lessens the lines, doesn't cache it. Then we're going to say, did I implement something like that? No, I did not. Okay, we'll do for player key in game dot get players. Okay, something I'm going to want to do now is inside of game we have get hunters and we have get speedrunners, but we do not have get all players. So let's go ahead and do that. Public list of player, get players. List of player output is equal to a new array list. Then output.add all speedrunners. Output.add all hunters. And we return the output. So now we've got what we want. And we can say something along the lines of do p.send message, then chat color.red plus player.get name. No, we'll maintain a consistent aqua. Plus messages dot player left pre-game. No, this wouldn't be player leave. This would be leader left disband pre-game. So now we need to say leader left disband game. Wait, is that what I called it? Disband pre-game. Right. Let's do red. And we'll just say has disbanded the manhunt. And then we'll just make this a general disband. Okay. So let's paste that into there. And then we can say manhunt pre-game collection get instance dot stop. And then we can pass in our game here. And we can say just return. So basically, this is the code for when someone disbands the game. Now, anything other than that, we're going to need to check if they're a player or a a speedrunner or a hunter. So we're going to do boolean speedrunner is equal to game.isPlayer speedrunner player, and then we say if speedrunner, then we're just going to do game.remove speedrunner player. Otherwise, and it's guaranteed they're a hunter, so we're going to remove the hunter player. Then we just need to basically say game.getLeader.send message chat color.aqua plus player.getName plus messages dot player left manhunt. Sure. And we can do pregame instead. It basically has left the manhunt. Just it has left the manhunt. That's perfectly fine. So we do player left pregame. I think that's everything I want for onQuit. Do I want for anything for onJoin? Essentially, onJoin, I'm gonna add another to-do here. Check if player is in manhunt game rather than pregame. I essentially want the onJoin to check if the player is in a game. And if they are, don't worry about it. So check if player is in manhunt game when joined. disband, or return to hub world spawn if game ended. Continue where left off if not. Basically that. So I'll have that so that we can do that later. What else do we need? We don't really need anything else there. This essentially just makes it much easier in terms of logging. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Restart the server. And if it works, we can push a git commit. Let's refresh. So /mh, we create speedrunner. So now I'm a speedrunner. But if I leave, should force me to create a new one. Hunter. Awesome. But if I type /mh, I'm in the pregame, registered as a hunter. Awesome. And so when I disconnect, is there any error on the console? There is no error on the console. We did it. Okay. Good. Let's go ahead and commit this. So basically, we added a blank template for main manhunt GUI. And allowed for disbanding, or for player to leave manhunt when quitting the game. And push. Anyway, and push. And push. Alright. So we've got that. Now, what do I want to do next? Because now we're kind of like at a branching path almost. Because our goal now is to actually create settings and to create, I can get rid of this, but to create settings to make the GUI just super expansive. So let's go to our manhunt to-do list. Okay, this is getting there. On with initial player. Allow multiple speedrunners and hunters. Check. Require a minimum of 1 speedrunner. We don't have that just yet. Allow game to begin if there are only speedrunners. Just a chilling. Only 1 game per player to be owner of. Check. If all speedrunners die, if the goal is achieved, create 3 separate worlds. Allow for world hunter speedrunner game and goal settings to be very flexible. Okay, so we're going to want to jump into the actual settings. So first of all, we're going to want our roster. So number 1 is the roster. Number 2 are the world settings. Number 3 are the game settings. Number 4 is the goal settings. Number 5 is the speedrunner settings. Number 6 is the hunter settings. And finally, we're going to want number 7, which is disband. So those are the 7 things we're going to want to create in our new inventory. So let's go into GUI. Let's go into items. Create, no, this is going to be a new package. We're going to call this main. So this is our main GUI. So we got the roster item. We've got, let's move this over here. We've got the world item. We've got the game item. Got the goal item. We've got speedrunner item. How am I naming speedrunner? Is it with a capital R? No, it's not. Okay. New class speedrunner item. We've got the hunter item. And then we have the disband item. Sweet. Okay, we've got our 7 items. Let's jump into each of them and set up the basics for them. So GUI item, hover, implements, boom. Then that. And this will be the same for all of them. In fact, I'm going to go as far as to copy up to here. Let's not do that. What in the world did I press? Why do I press the dumbest things? Paste. 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 And paste. Okay. Then I just need to rename these. So the first thing is easy, which is where they're located inside of the inventory. So let's do that first once I'm done typing these out or copying and pasting. So the roster item is going to be in a new point of essentially, that's why, a new point which is 1, 2, I believe that's correct. Let's copy this, paste it over here. Just gonna paste it in all of them. And boom. So this one's going to be 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, and 7, 2. Okay. So since all these are unique, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get used to them, so to say. Let's go ahead and let's go into, great, there's a mosquito in here. Joy. So the roster manhunt item. So basically, the material here, in fact, yeah, the material here, I'm just going to have material dot writable book because we're writing in the roster, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to make it blue or current roster. Let's import. I don't like it that that underline disappears the moment that I want to hover over it. List dot of. I got chat color dot gold. View or adjust the roster of your Manhunt game. The click permissions for this is going to be the same. So permissions.manhunt has permission player. For now, we'll leave it at that, but we are going to want more than that later. And we'll just say play click, then if not has click permissions player, then send notification messages dot insufficient permissions. We won't close the player out this time. We will simply do inventory dot refresh. No, we won't even refresh. We'll just not worry about it for now. Okay, cool. So basically, that's basically all set except for what it's going to do eventually. Now, underneath the world item, how do I want to manage that? I'm not sure what item I want for world item. So the clickable permissions or click permissions are going to be the same. Material, I'm just not sure what I want. World settings, I know I want this. Chat color.gold. Set up or set the settings. Set the environment and generation. Doing it wrong too. List of. There. That's better. Chat color dot gold. Set the environment and generation settings of the Manhunt world. Then in click, we're going to have the same thing as the roster. In fact, click is going to have the same throughout. So let's go ahead and do that for all of these. Disband will actually have a function in there. The one problem I'm having is if we're programming the world, then what should I have? Oh, what is that thing called? See something. Yeah, either sea. Heart of the sea. We can use that as the world. That works. That works. Because it's just blue and surrounding and spherical. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. So let's also go ahead and change the click permissions for all of these as well, because they're not going to change throughout until I add some more permissions. Awesome. So the game icon. Wonder what should I use? Chat color dot light purple. Game settings. List dot of chat color dot gold. And we can say set the specific game settings. I'm gonna be intentionally vague for this manhunt. For the manhunt. I'm gonna be intentionally vague because I'm not entirely certain what I want to put underneath game settings just yet. So this is fine. So the game settings. I mean, I could just do material.clock or something. I don't know. I seriously don't know what to put for that one. I'm kind of at a loss. So we'll just keep it as clock. For the goal, this can be material.endstone because, or material.end dragon spawn egg, or ender dragon spawn egg, because this would allow us to, this would basically intentionally show us, hey, you gotta get to the Ender Dragon and kill it, right? So you can change the goal settings there. So not material. What am I doing? Let's do chat color dot. Is there an orange? No, there's not. Let's do, yeah, let's just do yellow plus end goal. And our lore will be a list of color.gold. Change the goal for the speedrunners to win. Okay. Speedrunner item. I believe we actually already have a speedrunner item, and we're using an iron helmet. So let's go ahead and use something similar. Material dot helmet. I'll do a turtle helmet because that's fun. Chat color dot green. Speedrunner settings. List of chat color dot gold. Add or remove handicaps to the speedrunners. Basically that's what it's gonna do. Then for this we'll say material dot we'll do netherite sword because I know that netherite sword was used before, but that's fine. Chat color dot red. Hunter settings. Lore list of chat color dot gold. Basically this change it to hunters. And then finally we have our disband item. I think we're just going to make this material dot dark oak door like we have otherwise. So chat color dot dark red disband. Then list of chat color dot gold. Wait a second. Wait 1 moment. Disband the current. Basically that. Okay. So now we have all our items situated, which is great. But under here, in our disband item, we want to first check if. First we want. Well, we want to function. Goodness gracious! Am I having a stroke? Okay, so the disband item. We want to essentially check if the player is the leader of this manhunt. If they're not, we just return. Otherwise, we want to basically disband that manhunt. So let's go ahead and do manhunt pre-game is equal to manhunt get collection, get instance, get just get instance dot get player game leading player. So if this game is null, then we know that the player's not the leader. So what we can say is something along the lines of you cannot perform this action as you are not manhunt leader. Basically that. And so now we say player not leader and then return. Alright, so now we've got the game that we want associated. And we already have code for this in our listener. So in our listener down here, we're just going to essentially say get all players and that we disbanded the event, essentially. Then we stop the game and we're going to say player dot send settings update. You disbanded manhunt. And basically if p.get unique ID equals player.get unique ID. I don't want I don't want it to resend it to the owner, but I want it to send in a settings update, and then we'll say player.close inventory. Whew. Okay, Now, if this works, we'll do 0.5. Let's install. Move our new one on. Delete. Trash. 10 whole kilobytes bigger. Switch to testing. Alright, now we're just waiting for it to start back up. See what in the world it made for us. /MH. Create. Let's say it's a speedrunner. Okay, it didn't make anything for us because I'm dumb and forgot to add the items. Okay, let's switch back to code. Let's add these items. So we've got GUI item type. We've got main. I can close these. We've got main roster item, main world item, main game item, main goal item, main speedrunner item, main hunter item, and main disband item. Cool. Now, we've already got our inventory set up, so let's just add these. We got case, main roster item, new roster item, pass in our inventory. And we got our main world item, inventory. Then we've got our main game item. Then we've got our main speedrun or goal item. Main speedrunner item. Main hunter item. And disband item. Cool. So we have all our items there. Now we need to go into, this is the factory already. Good. Now we need to go into our actual inventory and add them. So all I need to do is say list.of, and inside of here, all I need to say is like GUI factory.make item, GUI item type, .main, what comes first? Roster. And the inventory, which is this. And then I just need to paste this 7 times. Then we just change it. Main world item? Yes. Main game item. Main goal item. Main speedrunner item. Main hunter item, and main disband item. Cool. Okay, we got our items, so let's install it this time and see if that works. Boom. Slap it right on there. Restart. Switch back to testing. Come on. Okay. Let's get up. Do /MH. Create speedrunner. There's our items. So now we've got our roster, current roster, view, or adjust the roster of your Manhunt game. Doesn't go anywhere. World settings, set the environment and generation settings of a Manhunt world. Nothing. Game settings, set the specific game settings for the Manhunt. End goal. That looks totally different than what I thought it would be. Change the goal for the speedrunners to win. Speedrunner settings, add or remove handicaps to the speedrunners. Hunter settings, add or remove handicaps to the hunters. And disband. This should. You disbanded the Manhunt. If I type /mh, it should make me create a new one. But if I type /mh here, awesome. Alright, we've got a nice loop going on now. Oh, that took so long. Okay, so I'm going to change a little bit of the items and how they look. But other than that, I'm very happy with how this turned out. So let's do Ender. Is there... Okay, we'll just do an Ender Eye. And then for the speedrunner item, I'm not a huge fan of the turtle helmet. We'll just do iron helmet like we have otherwise. But yeah, let's install this. I don't need to test it because it's pretty clear that it works. All I did was change a couple materials. But yeah, I'm going to commit these changes. So we added the main GUI for Manhunt. And what else did we do? A functional disband item to quit the Manhunt as the leader. Committed push. Anyway, push. Now, for our inventory, we're actually going to need to have different lists depending on what the person is. So if the person is the leader, yeah, they see all these items. But if they're not the leader, such as a normal player, they're going to see different items. For example, they're not going to see the roster. They're not going to see the world settings. They're not going to see the game settings. In fact, they're not going to see any of these. And disband item's just going to be a normal leave item so that they can leave the Manhunt, but they can't disband the Manhunt. Variation between Manhunt leader and invited player. Yeah. Next up, there's a few things we can do. First is roster, but I don't really have anyone that I can test with, so I might just have to... I kind of want to save testing that for the very end. So I'll do roster and invites later, but for now we will do we'll do all the settings first. So we'll be working on our world, speedrunner, hunter, goal, and game settings, and we'll skip roster for now. Okay, I know, boo, but yeah, I want to make sure that I have people that I can have help test with that. Otherwise, I think I'm going to end it there. I'm pretty tired. It's pretty close to bedtime, and I've been going for an hour, 5 minutes. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment on YouTube, or follow on Kick, whichever you are preferred to do. But thanks for watching and taking the time to follow along with me. And yeah, I probably won't be too active this week as I've got some deadlines to work on. But other than that, yeah, I'll see you guys later.